Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Rabbit Hole podcast. I am your host, CSD Fantasy. Hello, Fantasy faithfuls, and welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Rabbit Hole podcast. As that was just said, my name is CSD Fantasy, and I'm flanked by the one and only Nick Faber. How are you doing, sir?
I am great. I'm great. Thank you for asking. We're a week away from Christmas, so in the spirit of everything, and actually in inspiration of a post I saw in a group chat I'm in my home league, I actually wrote us a little Christmas poem. You mind if I read it real quick?
Go ahead.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna probably mess this up, but let's see what I got. 'Twas the week before Christmas when all through the house fantasy owners were stirring, clicking their mouse, trying to tinker, pulling out hair in hopes that a trophy soon will be there. When out on the lawn there arose pandemonium, someone shouted, should I start Cooper Kupp or Brishard Perryman, Allen Robinson or Cortland Sutton or A.J. Brown? Which one of these fine gentlemen should I turn down? I'm in one of those Aaron Rodgers or Drew Lock kind of things, and all I want is a trophy in my Christmas stocking. If you too have these questions, don't give the devil your soul. Just buckle up for this episode of the Fantasy Rabbit Hole.
Oh my god. That was incredible. Yeah, that's been week 16 of the Fantasy Rabbit Hole. We will not do anything more because we have peaked, people. We have peaked. It's very...
Thank you.
It's like we're one of those TV shows that peaked in season 1 and it's like, where do we go from here? I don't know, let's bring a kid on next season or let's have somebody.
That means you or me are going to have to get, we're going to have to get our...
No, it's always like a random cousin's child that comes along.
Oh, that's right. Just dropped on the doorstep. Yes. All right.
Yeah, like, I'm going to live here now. And then you're like, sure. And then on another, like 5 episodes in, it's like, yeah, people aren't going this one. Let's have one of them kill somebody. Like, what?
Oh my god!
I'm thinking like
Rabbit Hole is about to get pretty freaking crazy out here.
What happened to Friday Night Lights? They had I can't remember his name. He had to kill somebody.
I didn't watch the show. I watched the movie, loved the movie, one of my favorite football movies of all time, and I did not think the show was going to do it justice, so I never attempted an episode.
I was actually 100% with you for about like 7-8 years. Of like, the movie is the real thing. And then I started watching the show, and it's super addictive.
See, that may be another reason why I'm like kind of pushing it off is I don't have the time anymore. Well, now that football's starting to get over, maybe I will get a little bit more time. But as of, the last 4 months, 5 months, as much like you, we don't have any time to like get ready for a new show,
No, definitely. And it's especially one that's like long like that one. It's not like it's 20-minute episodes, it's longer episodes and that type of show that's with the drama that just, we don't know where to go from here. Let's just amp it up to 100.
I don't know. Sometimes I can't even get in on those shows. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should watch it, but as of right now, no, I haven't seen that show.
It's more of one of those shows that you watch just to have watched it. Like... Yeah. Yeah, no. I do know who Jason Street is. I understand the reference. That type of situation.
Yeah, I don't understand that reference at all. So.
Yeah, but you want to get out of Odessa.
Well, Odessa, baby. They should have won.
I've been to the stadium though. It's fantastic.
Booby. Man, this is the second time Friday Night's been brought up in last 2 episodes.
I think so. It's because it's a fantastic movie. That's
true. That is 100% true.
But speaking of fantastic, we do have a fantastic episode for you all here today. But as always, free to interrupt at any point in the show. In the live chat, we are here to serve. And before we get into today's show, I would like to remind you to hit that like button. Please share on social media to help us get the word out there. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Check out the Patreon page down below for exclusive content and personal fantasy projections. And lastly, head over to csdfantasy.com for the score projection and risk analysis for week 16. That's up right now and not tomorrow. It's up and ready to be used. But now to the news. News rundown, and we have 2 items. We talked about Eli Manning last week on the news, and that instantly leads you to like, who do you associate who works in the front office with Eli Manning the most?
Wait, what was it?
Jaguars just fired
Oh,
Coughlin as vice president for football operations.
did we do a loop on that one? Wasn't ready for that.
That was a terrible segue. Um, Coughlin is
That was
fired.
great.
He's fired as
Coughlin
vice
fired,
president of football operations for the Jaguars. And what is happening with this Jaguars team? Is it full on tear down this year and just start over? Or what, like Saxonville was a failure in the end. Blake Bortles contract situation, to bring on Leonard Fournette and run it down your throat didn't work as planned. Minshew Mania, it was going on for a while, and I like that guy. You bringing in Nick Foles, and it reminds me of The Good Place, where there's a guy who's a huge Jaguars fan, and they just tell him, like, oh, they just signed Nick Foles. And he's like, yeah, he's a Super Bowl MVP. And he broke his clavicle. And like, yeah. Like,
Wait,
it just...
they had that on an episode of The Good Place?
Yeah, because he's a huge Bortles fan, and like, they traded Bortles. No! And
That's
then,
hilarious. Oh, that's another show I need to get into. That show I have watched to like the first couple episodes, but that's great, dude. Wow, what a good reference. What a good NFL reference. I love that.
thank you. It's a fantastic show, and they have those little tidbits only with the Jaguars, no other team.
Yeah.
But Coughlin as the vice president, how do you feel? Like, do you feel like it's like, are they blowing it up totally? Like, from this little small, I don't want to call it small, but you know, they kind of did their thing for a few years, and now it feels with the Coughlin fire that no, we're starting over again.
I just like Tom Coughlin wasn't right. It seemed like at first he was. It seemed like he had got that team into a trajectory that was moving at a fast pace, an exponential rate that no one saw coming. And all of a sudden you're getting to the AFC Championship game and you're competing with New England and you have Blake Bortles at quarterback and you're still doing this stuff. It was unbelievable. But that's the NFL is your window closes so quickly. You have the slightest opportunity to make the most of maybe your career in one season. It could be that's the only chance that you get.
Panthers.
And they failed. They have now failed miserably for the last couple of years. And it all stemmed from the quarterback situation. Like, you had to have known that, yeah, you got that far with Blake Bortles, but Blake Bortles wasn't the deal. And the NFL teams are too scared to get rid of someone. I don't know. Like, they're too scared to make the leap when things are going mediocrely okay. The Lions will get to 9-7, 10-6, and feel like we're fine right there. That's what the Jaguars got to the AFC Championship. They said that's great. We just need one more year of consistency, everyone working together. But injuries happen and things like this happen where you just needed to get rid of Blake Bortles then. But what they did was they stuck with him for another year, and they've now got Nick Foles. They've gotten into this like whole downward spiral that is just no good. They traded away Jalen Ramsey. Leonard Fournette is getting close to the end of his contract. Gardner Minshew's great, and I absolutely love it. I'm rooting for him more than anything, but he might not be the answer in Jacksonville, though they might not get the answer this year as well, because at this point, you might just want to be tanking. You might want to try to just get a worse. I mean, I know Jacksonville's been doing that, but you had your window. You did that. Then you had your window, and now that window is gone again.
Yeah.
Time to rebuild again.
The NFL is funny like that because it's all or nothing. Like that show, it truly is what it is. Because it's no use in unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe the Detroit Lions, but we're decent. Yeah, we're fine with that. While for a lot of these other teams, I mean, I'm not saying that about the Lions, particularly because they just came. The owner, can't remember his name, just came out and said, "No, we need to be better. We need to be a contender." And what's his name?
It's her name, Martha Ford.
Martha Ford. My bad. Like Lions must be a playoff contender, and like I do think a lot of teams want to have that. Like they want the owner to come out and say that. At least the fans. And here, I think it's a signal to Jaguars fans that we're not okay with mediocrity.
Yeah.
We will blow it up because we've seen what being okay with mediocrity will do to our franchise. And look what, like I said, the Bengals is famous for being fine with mediocrity. Like Marvin Lewis never won a playoff game, but they're like, yeah, but we're making money. What's the problem?
We're getting to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, but also a big thing for Coughlin going down too was just the whole Leonard Fournette and Tom Coughlin rivalry. Fournette goes out and like ends up I believe he won I can't remember
Yeah,
what it's
he
called,
did.
but
He did.
so like that was a grievance for what $999,000 or something like that.
It's insane.
It was damn near a cool mill, and he won it. I mean, Tom Coughlin was just over excessive. Like he needed to be I was gonna say a specific word, but I'm gonna try to avoid that word today. But he needed to be gone, basically.
Yes, and for everybody who's not watching what Nick is referencing, so glad to have you here,
Yes.
joining us here today for the
Thank
show.
you for watching us. Probably
Math-
better TV.
MathQuest is here joining in. He doesn't have a question, but I would like to shout him out. So happy to have you on board for the show. And if you have any questions, just bump in. We're going to get to more fantasy-related stuff here. And I wanted to talk more about the Jaguars firing because we talked about it from a fan perspective and a football perspective. But for fantasy, blowing it up is really a good thing for the players from a fantasy perspective. If you're waiting for the Kyler Murray to come in, look what's happened with David Johnson has been, the guy who was leading that team. And if we would make the parallel to Leonard Fournette, who was the spearhead of fantasy production for that offense, if you're waiting for that rookie to come in, what's going to happen with you as a running back? Is it going to be, Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, like a new duo coming in? Is it going to be keep Fournette, but then you bring on this new rookie quarterback? How does that impact the fantasy production? I'm a little bit worried about drafting Jaguars for next year, just as a whole, unless Minshew is the quarterback. Then I can see spending later picks on probably Sharknado.
Sharknado would be pretty much like maybe the only one. Minshew, if he is the guy, he was targeting O'Shaughnessy quite often early in the season, so I would have no problem trying to get a steal and a tight end from Jacksonville, whoever it may be. But you want to get behind a rebuild of a team that has no defense, a la Tampa Bay, a la Jacksonville a few years ago. You want these guys who are gonna be down 40-10 in the fourth quarter and get a ton of garbage time points. Yeah. You want those guys. But you most definitely do not want to get a team that's rebuilding that already has a pretty solid and stacked defense, because what that's going to turn into is game managing games. And you don't want fantasy guys from game managing games. You don't want the 17-10 fantasy quarterback or running back or receiver. You want the 35-38 running back wide receiver, obviously. So for Jacksonville specifically, I don't think this is the time to buy into their rebuild via fantasy, where like this year I was saying that Tampa Bay was the perfect time to buy in for the rebuild for fantasy.
Yeah.
Get Chris Godwin, get Mike Evans. I mean, those
you
are
talked about them. You talked about them earlier. You were early on Godwin this year in our show.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite draft takes all year, and we'll get to that later on in the draft, going over some of my favorites of what I drafted. But I loved Chris Godwin. This is not the time to buy into Jacksonville on the rebuild. If anything, it's Fournette, depending on where his ADP is next year. And DJ Shark, if you're in Dynasty, you want DJ Shark for sure. He is the real deal. He was the real deal. He is the real deal. It doesn't matter if Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew, or Justin Herbert is playing quarterback for him next year. Just get Shark. And it depends on, and hopefully the Jacksonville-esque will kind of bring his ADP down a little.
Yeah, hopefully.
Chris Godwin. Like, people didn't want to draft Godwin in the first 4 rounds because he played on Tampa Bay, because Winston was so bad. Jacksonville can give the same people the same image about a guy like DJ Shark, and all of a sudden he falls to the 5th, 6th round, and that's a steal right there. That's a steal.
Yeah, I think if you can get him later on in the draft, like you say, he's going to be a valuable asset. I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but he's going to be a valuable asset on your fantasy team. But just looking at, we've talked about Leonard Fournette earlier on this season when Carlton was on and we had a slapback going on, that Fournette would not be above 24.5 points in standard scoring again in the season. That was week 4. Do you know when he was above that? He's been above that once after that.
No, I don't.
Week? It took him until week 12 to be above 20 fantasy points again. That's a lot of week 12 from week 4.
Did he surpass the 24 though?
Yes, he did. He had 27, 27.9. So
just to confirm, you lost the slap bet.
Yeah, he's going to give me a slap. We're gonna have to have him come on the show and just for the slap.
Oh no!
But it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It took 8 weeks, so I was pretty close. I was pretty close.
So in regards to the bet, 8 weeks is 8 weeks. You still lost. That's outstanding. I cannot wait to see you get slapped. I love you, but I can't wait for you to get slapped. The second thing in regards to Leonard Fournette and being drafted in fantasy, like you said, like that kind of shows it right there. Like he's not the star running back, but he will get you some solid running back 2 points most often, if not flex. If you can manage to get him as a running back 3 on your team, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I think that's probably the only way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm gonna try to stay away. Just how they've been looking this season. If they're starting to firing people now, it's not even firing season. If that makes sense, it's Christmas season. It's
the season of firing for the NFL, apparently.
Yeah, so that's a red flag to me. Another huge red flag in the NFL world is always the Cleveland Browns.
Ugh.
And now there's escape rumors. Come get me. Jarvis Landry, there's the claim that he asked the Cardinals to come get him. OBJ had to come out and say, no, it's too good to be here, or whatever. I can't leave now. Y'all been terrible. And I said that early. You can put lipstick on a pig. You can paint a turd in gold. It's still what it is. And you can say that about the Cowboys as well. We're loud fans. We're winning the Super Bowl, but we never do. It's the same. We're going to be loud-mouthed, but we're never going to win. So you can just let us scream, and then be happy that we never win anything. With Cleveland, you get all this talent. You freaking have Baker Mayfield, Njoku, Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Jarvis Landry, OBJ. It's insane the amount of firepower.
Yeah.
And nothing is happening. Are you afraid to draft a Cleveland Brown? Just with these rumors, is that going to impact your draft, or are you going to try to look for value in the Browns next year with people having a down opinion on them? Because that's what I'm leaning towards a little bit.
Absolutely the latter of the two. And it's because in the beginning of our season, and when we were talking to each other before the show even started here, the Fantasy Rebel, when I was just jumping on your show and vice versa, it was the Browns were not going to be a playoff team this year. I guaranteed it. I bet my life on it. You knew it wasn't going to happen. I told you not to get OBJ. I told you not to get Baker. I told you not to get those boys. And I told you not to believe in Believeland. You couldn't this year because NFL doesn't work like that. You don't get a brand new head coach who's never coached before and are you gonna take him out of just focusing on the offense to now focusing on an entire team and having to go out in the press conferences and talk to the fans or to the media and all this stuff, and then throw him into the fire with a huge ton of what's the word I'm looking for? Expectations with a second-year quarterback who's just inevitably going to have a sophomore slump because damn near everyone in the league always has a sophomore slump. Now, a few people don't, but still. So now this is a recipe for disaster.
Especially with all the media attention and that. Look at how much media attention Baker's got. He's on commercials. He's doing this. He's doing that. Just play football a little bit first.
So you knew it wasn't a good year to go after him. If you did, sorry, better luck next year. But next year's a great time to go after him because now.
Yeah,
the attention's going to be off them. The attention's going to be on another team, another up-and-coming team, the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, his second year. Let's blow that up. Lamar Jackson, obviously, will be the talk of town. Well, probably not. Jameis Winston in Jacksonville, maybe. But it's just going to be different. You're going to be in the low light. Now you can go out there and you can just ball. You don't have to worry about, helping out the ancestors of Cleveland who are resting on you to win it all so that their sports dreams can come to life. No, now you just go out there and you just be you. You just be Baker. You be that dangerous quarterback. You go OBJ. You have Jarvis, who are no longer in the spotlight. OBJ isn't moving teams. He's not going to his brother Jarvis Landry here, where Landry's getting all the hype now because it's just gonna be a completely different team. And I think that's the time to buy into him. You would assume ADP's all decrease from what they were this year because of the season they had, which is great. I'm still not going after Baker, but there's two things that make me worried about it. And if these two things stay true, then it's tough for me to draft any Cleveland Brown. If Freddie Kitchens is still the coach, I'm very nervous.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I'm very nervous. If he is, okay, yes, I almost don't want to believe in that second year kind of like, okay, well, his first year, different scheme and all that. No, he was still the offense coordinator. It's not a different scheme. They should not have been this bad.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you before the second thing. And because I want to ask you, if this coach takes over the Cleveland Browns, how big of an improvement is that? Because it's Jason Garrett. If he takes over the Browns, how do you feel about them?
Not great. I don't know. No, not great. I think it's a improvement, a much needed improvement in Cleveland for their quarterback or for their coaching position. But I don't think that's going to help the team out. I don't think he's going to be able to handle the boys. I think you got to get someone more stern in there.
Yeah.
Freddie Kitchens is a laid-back kind of guy. Jason Garrett's a pretty laid-back kind of guy. I don't think that's what Cleveland
Garrett has a lot of strong opinions of who he wants in a locker room, though, which might be a huge issue with prima donnas.
And what is Cleveland full of?
All of them. But I can see if Garrett leaves the Cowboys, I can see like, oh, he's been in the NFL for a long time. That's what we need.
It's definitely the Browns' move to hire Garrett. We go from the complete opposite. We went from no head coaching experience and Freddie Kitchen and not barely any coaching, but little coaching experience to Jason Garrett, who's the most tenured coach in the NFL, who's available and this and that and this. I could definitely see Cleveland just try to go from one end of the spectrum to the complete opposite end.
That's why I had to interrupt you. Continue on with your point, though.
Just the second point is Baker Mayfield, man. You can't throw one or zero touchdowns in a 12-game stretch. Can't do that. If he doesn't get better, then this team is a drag. You're not obviously gonna know that when it comes to drafting season. You're gonna have to, but I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on him come training camp, OTAs, preseason. I need to see how Baker's looking because Baker don't look good this year.
Yeah, and then I think
Baker will be better for the record. I think Baker will definitely improve next year.
I totally agree with that, but I do hope they draft line play, just either line.
Yeah.
They are a terrible run defense right now, and I would like some better pass blocking on that team.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Cleveland has a lot to go. They're definitely not Super Bowl bound like everyone was hoping this year, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next year. I don't know how much I'm buying into him. Dynasty-wise, I'm a little bit nervous. I got Nick Chubb, and someone's trying to sell me something different. Then I don't know, maybe Joe Mixon and a first-round pick for Nick Chubb or something like that. I mean, that's just me spitballing off the top of my head. I don't know if I would do that, but I'm just saying, Nick Chubb becomes a little bit more expendable.
Yeah.
Via dynasty.
And speaking of expendable, if you have spendable income, you might want to check out our sponsor.
Wow, that was great.
Tired of losing on DFS salary cap sides? With our friends at Prize Picks, you don't have to worry about that. No, you can turn that fantasy sports knowledge into cold hard cash. No sharks, no endless hours of research, unless you count ours. It's just you against the projections. Just choose over and under correctly on players' fantasy point projections to win. Use promo code CSD. New members who sign up and make their first deposit gets free 2-pick entry to win $25 and 25% first deposit instant match up to $4,000. Prize Picks really is daily fantasy simplified. And they were super nice to me. We had an event a week or two ago on a Thursday here in Atlanta. They're a fantastic group of guys working hard to make your fantasy experience worthwhile. We don't really have a weekly topic to touch on right now, but I did want to go over Nick's picks from last.
Yeah. I don't even know how I did. We normally talk about it before, but we got on pretty late today, so I don't even know how I did.
Yeah, but you did pretty well. Hey. You did, since we did 4 Knicks picks instead of 3 this week. And you went 4 out of 2, since you went head to head with me. And okay. You went 2 out of 4, and I went 2 out of 4. So Aaron Rodgers Aaron Rodgers versus Jameis Winston. You went with Rodgers, and I went with Winston, and Winston did well.
He did pretty good against my boys.
And then you picked Marquise Brown versus Keenan Allen, and that went really well for you. And Keenan Allen was terrible. Well, not terrible, but he was terrible.
He's terrible, man. He's terrible. Should have traded him in week 3.
Yeah. Good thing I never drafted him. Baker Mayfield versus Dak Prescott. I went with Dak, and you went with Baker, and Dak went above him. Either of the two did super well, but Dak won a little bit better. And then you went with Miles Sanders, and I went with Joe Mixon, and you won that one handily.
Oh, really? I thought Mixon had a pretty good day. Miles Sanders
he did, but Miles Sanders had a really good day.
To be honest, I didn't watch the Philly game. I didn't pay attention to that one.
He was the third highest scoring running back.
Well, Miles Sanders, baby. I told you I'll start him.
He had 19 carries for 122 and a touch.
He's the guy I want in Dynasty. I think he's going to be somewhat of a real deal in Philadelphia moving forward, PPR-wise.
Yeah, no, definitely. He had He had 6 receptions for 50 yards and a touch, too.
Yeah, that's... Like his receptions have been stellar all year. You know what I mean? Like he's good.
The only Mixon only lacked touchdowns in this game. Like he had 136 yards, he had 25 carries. It was just he never punched it in the end zone. And
I was playing him. I needed that.
Yeah, because even like Aaron Jones had 51 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. So
right.
Sometimes that burns you, but that puts you up at 13-10 for the season. This one was a little bit different since we went head to head. Otherwise, it would have been a little different, I think. But it's fun, and that puts record,
baby.
That's put us at 6-4 against each other on the year.
Woo!
So you have a good opportunity to catch up.
Wait, I'm down 6-4?
Yeah, I got 6 and you got 4.
I thought I was up 6-4.
No.
All right, let's get him. We got some rolling in here.
We got some rolling in. We got Mello joining in. What's up, Mello? So happy to have y'all on board. We're going to do Nick's picks right here. So just give us a bunch of head-to-heads and see when we disagree. We're going to put them up for the list for week 16. So the first one is Mello, and he says O.J. Howard or Tyler Higbee. O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard or Tyler Higbee?
I think I know who I'm going with.
And I'm taking Tyler Higbee.
And I think you're going to go with the same one. So this is definitely not going to be Nick's picks against each other. Because Tyler Higbee, I have him for 8.2. It's twice as many points and a much higher ceiling.
I mean, just look at what Higbee has been doing. He is taking the league by storm. 3 straight 100-yard games, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and it's the first time in Rams. It's the first time in Rams history.
First time in Rams history, dude. Tyler Higbee's man. Like, I didn't start, but I would have started him in a flex last week. Like, he's fine. I'm starting Higbee as like a top 5 tight end this week. Run it up.
Yeah, no, I do really like him. I picked him off a waiver to start him in that week 17 league, and it worked out really well. I don't know if you caught the game, the Cowboys versus Rams, or if you've seen how he racked up points, but that's the only thing that concerned me a little bit. The Cowboys just backed off, and it was 5 throws in a row that was just Higbee reception, 5 yards, plus 5 after the catch. And he just kept doing that, and I just sat there like, and he just,
we'll take it, baby. Garbage time points are fantasy points, right?
Yeah, and that, like, I feel like he's the one that Goff trusts right now. With, if you look at how he throws the football, it's not looking good.
No,
like it
Isn't
looks
that crazy? He was so good last year, and it's bad this year.
Yeah, it reminds me of. It's funny because it reminds me of their backup quarterback, Blake Bortles. I would just, he can throw to, that looks awkward.
He can. Oh no. But wait a minute, that's a good. Wait.
and it
Really?
died. Just
No.
yeah, and it's like looking at Philip Rivers. Even when like he has an awkward throw, I have a similar throwing motion as Rivers because I come from a handball background. So my throwing motion is a little funky, but for them just looks funky and the ball never, it goes wrong.
Right.
There was a couple of throws that Goff was just, you're like, really? That's
Right. But it's been all year, and it's not even all year. It was been for the last, year and a half. Ever since Todd Gurley injury,
yeah.
we've seen Jared Goff all of a sudden fall off the hinges, and not even that, but Sean McVay, the Rams, like they were the talk of the town last year. No one could be, they were the Ravens of this year last year.
Yeah.
But it just shows you how the NFL works, man. Any given Sunday, like you never know. You just never know. You don't know what's going to happen. And the Rams, they don't have it this year. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Ndamukong Suh. He leaves and the team goes.
You got to have a leader.
Got to have a leader. Need someone to kick other quarterbacks in the groin and
exactly.
compound their stuff,
And then, like, they haven't been terrible. They have like 8 wins or something.
Yeah, they're not terrible either, but they don't look good in any game that they play.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird how they've ended up here. And then their division is the toughest one in the league, so it's kind of like, you kind of need it to be better.
Yeah.
And that's how the NFL is. Like, look at the NFC East, been terrible. And then, like you said, if any given Sunday, I remember us in week 4, Cowboys, Bills, and Lions were 3-0.
Yeah.
Look at...
Good times.
Yeah, it's insane. But yes, Tyler Higbee for us. And then we have another one from Mello. Kenyon Drake, Darius Slayton, or Brashard Perriman in PPR, of course. So I'm guessing this is a flex option. And I'm going to go with Kenyon Drake over Slayton and Perriman. I do like the matchup for Perriman.
I like the Perriman. I'm definitely taking Drake over who's the second? Slayton. I like the Slayton matchup against Washington. Don't get me wrong. I like the Drake. I like just Drake and Arizona's offense though. Playing Seattle's tough.
Yeah, but they've been worse and worse against the run lately.
No, but it's just Kenyon Drake, man. Like how much confidence do you have putting Kenyon Drake in your starting roster on championship week? Like I don't care about like what's going on. It's just the fact of the name. Name is scary.
But then Brashard to drop Perriman. Do you trust him more? He couldn't catch a pass before this season.
I know, but he also had Joe Flacco throwing to him and like. I don't know. It just wasn't his fit in Baltimore. I know I don't have any trust in Brashard Perriman either, God damn it. And nor do I have any trust in Darius Slayton, who hasn't shown me much other than the 4 or 5 games he's had this year. But all in all, final answer. I'm putting one down in 5, 4, 3, 2. Give me Darius Slayton over them all.
Darius Slayton over Drake?
Yeah.
So this is a head-to-head then, because I'm definitely going Drake.
Give me Darius Slayton, baby. Washington matchup. Daniel Jones is back. This game about to get a little bit oddly high scoring.
Danny Dimes, he's not even $1.
But he drops dimes, baby, and that's all you need to do in the NFL.
He's just dropping them, like, keep them on you.
I don't need them dimes. I'm the 6th pick in the NFL, motherfucker.
We got another Kenyon Drake question here from MathQuest, or Raheem Mostert. Let me look over the numbers real quick.
I'm going to go with Drake over Mostert. Man, I don't want to do that, but...
Yeah, I'm doing that too, especially in PPR. In PPR, I'm definitely doing Drake over Mostert.
Yeah, I'm going with Drake as well.
Yeah. I have him for 4 reception and Mostert for 1. Especially not Matt Breida is back.
I know, that's what scares me. Like, I would go Mostert. Like, I'm looking at this right now. I'm just, like, looking at some stats over here, and I want to go Mostert so bad, but you got to go Kenyon Drake. You have to. Go start Kenyon Drake. Don't overthink it. Don't tinker with it.
But don't expect what he did.
No.
Like this. That's why I don't want Perriman as well, because it's like lightning rarely strikes 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
It's the same like Devontae Parker has a very obvious 1 week good, 1 week bad trend going this year. So I was hyped to start him in week 15, week 16, not so much.
Right.
Not so much. And how Devontae, he was number 4 in last week, so that turned out pretty darn good. But we have Melo wants to know about Dak or Mahomes, and this is fun because I was just looking at Dak and Mahomes earlier, because I don't know if you remember, in week 8 we discussed when Mahomes was coming back, Dak or Mahomes rest of season after week 9. So week 10 to 16, we have a bet, you and I, who will get most points. I haven't checked who's in the lead right now.
I forgot all about that bet. That's exciting.
So it's gonna. I haven't checked on it. I wanted to keep it like a little bit of a secret until next week.
I'm gonna check right now. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm just joking.
And see where we're at on that one. But we will get back to that bet. But who do you want for week 16? I want Dak against Philly, even with the shoulder issue. I think he's playing. No problem.
Yeah, Dak is playing. Dak sits this game out. That's a. Who's their backup quarterback? Cooper Rush?
Holy
yes!
Nick!
Damn, dude. I hope Dak Prescott sits this game out, dude. Give me some Cooper Rush. That's Central Michigan boy right there, right? I'm pretty sure.
I had no idea. I've never met another football person who can name the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback.
Cooper Rush. I'm pretty sure he's Central Michigan boy. But anyways, I do want him to start. So why don't you take a seat, Dak? You'll be all right. You'll win this game. Philly sucks. But at the overall question, Dak or Mahomes? For like this, the spite of the bet, I just want to say Mahomes, just like double or nothing on it. But he's playing Chicago Sunday night. I'm not buying into that. Give me Dak as well in Philly. And I gotta feel this game's gonna go 31-24 Cowboys, where the Chiefs win 24-10.
24 to 10 in that one.
I have no faith in the Bears, dude.
At all. The only team they can beat is the Cowboys.
Except I put a ton of money on the Cowboys to beat the Bears, and they let me down.
Oh yeah, I could have told you we were gonna be.
Well, terrible. Where are we at, Carl? You gotta call me when I'm about to make these bets. You gotta feel it.
Yeah, when the Cowboys in a prime time against a team they should beat this year, that's just obvious. We're gonna tank and be.
Oh, is terrible. It? Oh, I guess I didn't realize for that, boys. I was like, damn, dude, the Bears suck. Boys gotta whoop their butt, but no, they didn't. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. That's the rabbit hole for you. Let me just go down.
That is the rabbit hole, and we have another one because we've only actually disagreed on one player so far. So we got another one from Mello with AJ Brown, Darius Slayton, or Danny Amendola. That's
okay. What was it?
AJ Brown, Darius Slayton, or Danny Amendola.
Heard. Okay, let's break this down. Not Danny.
You break that down. I'm gonna say hi to Chauncey TV. I'm just misspelled his name here in the chat, but welcome to the show, man. Happy to have you on board. Sorry to hear that you missed out on your 3rd championship in a row. Due to Winston.
Damn it, Winston. He probably listened to me, and I was the one who told him to start. Whoever we bet on. I
asked him if it was my fault. He said it wasn't. So I'm just gonna blame you, Nick. Fantastic.
It's probably my fault. I'll take blame for it. You know, where's my head? That's why we're. But anyways, what are we asking? Slayton,
AJ Brown, Slayton, and Amendola. I want Brown. One? I want Brown in PPR.
We're picking one. Yeah, I mean, you got to start AJ Brown. Like.
Yeah. Fantastic matchup against New Orleans too.
Yeah. Like you're not sitting AJ Brown, especially after what he's been doing the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. The only team that New Orleans have shut down was the Colts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they've been pretty terrible against wide receivers. So AJ Brown,
they shut them down too. I promise you. I had some money on the under on that game, and well done, Saints. Drew Brees looked like a freaking god during that game.
Yeah, I was. I had him pretty highly ranked, but I've been cautious with Brees after the injury. I'm kind of eating my socks on that one.
What he finished 29-30, right?
Oh, yeah, he was Brees. He was Brees.
Easy breezy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure it was 29 for 30. Finished the game with 20 straight completions. Just unbelievable. Picked them up.
Let me throw a touchdown. Oh, flag. Well, let me throw another one then. I want this record. I'm gonna have to update my touchdown record video that I have with the top touchdown leaders in the offseason.
Yep.
To account for Brees.
Who's a better quarterback? Who would you rather have on your team for one game, one Super Bowl? Peyton Manning or Drew Brees?
I'm gonna be biased because I'm a huge Peyton Manning fan. He was.
I'm saying Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees gets you the win outside of Peyton Manning instead of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, a lot of people. I think a lot of people would agree with you because Manning has that. I don't know. He kind of has the legacy of like not showing out when it really matters, which is annoying.
Right. I do get what you're saying. He just came up against the buzzsaw that was Bill Belichick every year, and that's a bummer. Like, Bill Belichick's best defensive mind to ever set foot in the NFL. There's no there's no debate. That isn't a debate. That is just a fact. Like, he is the best defensive mind to ever set foot in the NFL. There's a reason why the Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls, and it is not because Tom Brady's just that great. It's because Bill Belichick schemes so well defensively, and he is doing all defensively. It's unbelievable.
He's doing some pretty good offensive scheming as well.
I don't think he does much of the offensive scheming.
You don't?
I don't. I don't think he has too much to say in it. I think he believes in Josh McDaniels more than anyone else, and that's why we see them not even have a defensive coordinator this year, because Bill Belichick runs that defense.
Yeah, and
it's not Matt Patricia running that defense. It wasn't Romeo Crennel running that defense. It wasn't any of those guys running that defense. It was Bill Belichick, and those guys just made sure that they could take any blame if needed. Never needed to, but if needed.
Because they just kept rings coming in.
Right, because because Bill Belichick is that good at defense. So I think Peyton Manning had it bad just going up against Bill Belichick that often. And
I do think it was the two best football minds going at each other.
I agree, and it seems like Bill Belichick won more often. Yeah. So, but anyways, Peyton Manning is one of the most elite quarterbacks ever. I just think Drew Brees is better than him, so I'm going to go with Drew Brees.
I do think Brees is a little bit better passer. I do think Manning is a better tactician, and I do love me I know like how I've been hearing like the interviews with Manning and stuff, and how they practice everything over and over and over again. It's like, they might know what we're going to do, but we're going to do it so well that you can't stop us.
Right.
And that was something that I did in soccer. I read when I was like 9 years old in a book, like, learn one thing and do it so well that it doesn't matter that they know.
Yeah.
So I learned one move, and I've had people scream from the stands like, he's going left. And I did that 4 times in a row on 4 guys. And they're like, you know what he's doing. Like, stop it. So I lean towards those guys that do one thing extremely well, and like, yeah, you can't stop Des in the red zone when he just jumps and out muscles you. He's just gonna do it over and over again because he's the best at it. So I'm super biased towards those, like Manning, who's like, oh, he's gonna do that, yeah, and you know it, and he's still. Anyway, I'm losing track because I can talk about
rabbit hole, baby. It's week 16, man. Get used to it if you're going to be watching us through the offseason. We're going to have a lot of conversations.
Yeah, this is definitely how the show is going to be even more. But we do have some more questions. A lot of A.J. Brown here.
A.J. Brown. I even brought him up in my poem.
Yeah, that's...
Anthony Robinson or Cortland Sutton or A.J. Brown, which one of these fine gentlemen should I turn down?
You will have to read that as we close out the show, though.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing again.
Oh, man, that makes me feel so good. Thanks, bro.
It was fantastic. And I'm going to, save it as a sound drop. I want to make sure that I'm recording. Yes. Perfect. Melo says, for Saturday's games, Pats or Bills defense and ready for Eagles and Cowboys? Or is he just ready for it? He's ready for it,
baby.
He's so ready. Let's do this. High-scoring Cold Saints, lol for the Saints. Math Quest, please pick one receiver. A.J. Brown, Devontae Parker, or, okay, this one is a new one, Scorin McLaurin.
Ooh,
that's a good nickname.
McLaurin, dude. I tried to get McLaurin in my poem, and I couldn't get it going, but that's a good one right there.
I do like that.
Scorin McLaurin. I like it. Way better. What was it before?
Scary Terry.
Oh, my
Scorin McLaurin is just fantastic. I'm stealing that one, Math Quest.
Yeah.
I'm stealing that one super hard.
Well done.
I will give you credit for it, though.
What was the question that we got? Scorin McLaurin or who?
A.J. Brown, Scorin McLaurin, or Devontae Parker?
We already, man, I was gonna say we already kind of ex-nayed Devontae Parker because of his on-off streak, but
Yeah.
he's playing Cincinnati. Like, if there's ever a week he's gonna break it, this would be it, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's what I'm thinking too. I made a point on that, and now I'm looking through his numbers, and I kind of want him above the other two, even though the matchups are better on paper for McLaurin and Brown.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sit AJ Brown, man. You just can't sit AJ Brown. You can't sit AJ Brown right now. Him and Ryan Tannehill have a connection that could be a top 5 wide receiver quarterback connection next year.
It's so strange to say that.
So if that's the case, you can't be the grandpa on this. You can't be the grandpa who's just can't accept change. This is what's happening right now. The NFL fantasy world has been taken over by AJ Brown and Ryan Tannehill.
But Devontae Parker outscored him quite handily. Not quite handily, but he outscored him in week 15.
Right, but Parker now going up against Cincinnati, which is a very good matchup, yes, respectfully. I'm not taking Parker because this game might not be as high scoring as we think it's going to be. This could be more of just a Joe Mixon and rushing attempt game for Miami, whoever the fuck's back there, Patrick Laird or whoever they want to send. I don't foresee this being too crazy of a high scoring game. So I'm going to go with AJ Brown.
I'm going to go with AJ Brown because I did make a point that I only want Devontae Parker every other week. So I'm going to stick with AJ Brown as well.
Right. If there's ever, like, Devontae Parker against Terry McLaurin, I might go with Devontae Parker. But against AJ Brown, I can't.
Yeah, then we're having a discussion at least. But no, AJ Brown over the other two in full point PPR. Sean said one person in my 12-team league auto drafted and he's undefeated. Played him last week. Would have won him with Winston. What is your policy on folks auto drafting? Only occurred to one team. We had a bunch of teams auto draft in one league that I'm playing on. One of them made it to the semifinals. I don't think he's going to go to the final, but sometime, depending on who you're playing, sometime for some people auto drafting is better. I've had people try to draft the entire Falcons team in like fun leagues, and you're like, yeah, this is terrible. Your team would have been better if you used auto drafted. So it's difficult to say. It's difficult to have a one size fits all solution.
There's nothing wrong with the auto draft, and to be honest, that might be the smartest person there is because we all like to sit here and say we know everything about fantasy. I'm going to draft my team because I know I want to get this guy then, I want to get this guy then, I want to get this guy then. Truly, we just want to draft because that is the most fun part about fantasy football is your fantasy draft because the potential is so much. However, when it comes to auto draft, if a guy understands that he doesn't know everything about fantasy, we'll take, for instance, my dad doesn't really know, he doesn't follow fantasy too much, but he wins a lot because he goes and he just drafts, and we do a live draft, he does an auto draft, but he just drafts whoever's top on the board. He's got top 200, just drafts whoever's top on the board. He'll be like, Nick, is this guy injured? No. All right, then I'll take Todd Gurley. I don't know why he's falling to the third round. Then Todd Gurley's the best player in fantasy. This was a couple years ago, obviously. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with the auto draft. Sometimes it's better. It's okay to admit defeat and know that you have a life and you don't have the opportunity to do a ton of research. And so instead of just going out there and drafting names you just let the computer draft for you, and you're going to hope that it drafted an all right team. And if not, you can make up, and by doing your waiver wire selections throughout the season, and that's when leagues are truly won. No one out here drafted A.J. Brown, Brashard Perryman, and guys like that to Ryan Tannehill to win your championship. But you're all starting them. So if you're going to be winning a championship, that means you stuck with the league and are doing waiver wire pickups throughout the season. So at that point, that's great. Now, if this guy auto-drafted, never set his lineup, never changed a bye week, and that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Like, obviously, he wouldn't be in the championship or anything like that, or the semis. But even if you're the worst team in the league, that's disrespectful. You don't join a league and then not play. Don't join a league and then not even draft and then not play. That's dumb. That's ridiculous. So
I've had people just like after 3 weeks, I give up.
That's
my first round pick is hurt.
And I tweeted out a while ago, if you're 1-6, continue to play, or if you're 1-8, continue to play and set at least the best lineup. You don't have to do waiver wires and stuff like that. Understand?
But you should start all the roles.
Right. Don't let any bye weeks because other teams are banking on you pulling off a surprise victory and helping them out. And if you're just going to be a piss poor loser and cry and moan and go run away, then just don't join my league. I don't want that.
Yeah, especially when it's a situation where you maybe stolen 3 wins, and then by the end of the season you're like, oh, I'm out, whatever, and then you start missing bye weeks, and then players who shouldn't win later on in the year, they start winning against you because you didn't set your lineup. But
Right.
I digress. We have Kyle G and Miracle Man joining the show. Welcome, guys. Hope you are having a good evening.
Real quick, though, before we jump off of that topic, how do you feel about people who are out of the playoffs but continue to make waiver wire?
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't do that. Don't do that. I saw some tweet going around a little bit ago. People were like, "You have to do it. It's blah 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 blah." I was in awe. Like, no, don't go and pick up players if you're like out of the playoffs and you're not in a dynasty. You're just out of the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't pick up someone.
If you're in dynasty, 100%. If you're in if you're in a season, if you're in a what is it? Not redraft. When you save a few players. I'm blanking.
Oh, a keeper league. A keeper league.
Yeah. 100% if you want to keep that player for next year.
Right.
But if you're just trying to F people over, that's just like, what do you win from that more than then you can go on any message board on YouTube and be a troll if that's.
Yeah, if that's your goal is to just troll, just go do it on YouTube. Go do it. Go do it on our show. That's fine. Troll our show.
Exactly.
Don't troll your fantasy league, dude. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone listening to this right now is doing that.
No.
For anyone who does listen to this at post live show, just try to be respectful for your fantasy playing. But I think anyone who's listening right now is just like, all right, guys, I understand. I obviously know how I'm doing this. Now answer my question. So I didn't mean to interrupt. Let's go ahead and get some questions.
Kyle G says, Austin Hooper or Jacob Hollister. I have Austin Hooper for 7.8 for just 39% risk with a 4-point floor and 14.7 ceiling. Much, much higher than Jacob Hollister. Even though Hollister's matchup is fantastic against Arizona, Jacksonville is actually the 5th best opponent for a tight end. So I have Austin Hooper way above Jacob Hollister.
Yeah, you asked me anyone but Austin Hooper, I'm going to tell you Jacob Hollister. But Austin Hooper's back, and he's back. Start him.
Go start him. Happy holidays to everybody. I see we get a lot of happy holidays.
Yes.
Next week, it will bring up just real quick. Next week is the 25th, so I will not be able to do the show as I will be in South Carolina.
Does something happen on December 25th? I can't remember.
I believe it does, but maybe we can move the show to another day and do one next week. Maybe.
I think we should. There's some Week 17 people out there. We definitely should give them some love.
Definitely. It's in DFS. DFS always.
By the way, call Carl. I'm going to be home all day, all night on Wednesday, on Tuesday. So this is just Carl. For some reason, Carl doesn't want to talk to me on Christmas night. I don't know why.
My niece and nephew they're so cute. I have
to. Join on the show. I'll bring Jay on the show. We'll have a kids up. I'm just joking.
That's actually a fun idea, though. I've been invited to join one of my coworker. Her 10-year-old is a fantasy football nerd as us, and he wants to bring me on a podcast that he does.
What? That's so cool.
Yeah,
oh, my gosh.
They're a super football family. Her brother has been in the NFL. I can't remember his name now. But they go to like Clemson games, and he's gone up to like Dabo Swinney, like, I'm gonna play for you in 2024 or whatever he said. Not 24, 2030. And
God.
He's such a cool dude.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome, man.
We got Miracle Man before we close out the show with Nick's poem. He needs pretty much a whole team. 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, and 2 flex. So let's start with 2 wide receivers. I'm gonna bring up all the wide receivers, and then we can go to the running backs and then to the flex. AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin. So we know that that's going to be AJ Brown.
Yep.
We got Todd Gurley, Adrian Peterson, Kareem Hunt. Okay, here we go. Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton.
This is a bad day not to bring a pen to work right here.
Yeah, and Brashard Perriman that I probably misspelled, so I'm going to copy it from my previous notes.
So Perriman, Shepard, Slayton, Brown, McLaurin.
First, we need a running back, and we have Gurley, Peterson, Hunt.
Gurley, Peterson, Hunt. Give me Gurley. Wait.
Yeah, Gurley. Terrible matchup against San Francisco, though.
It's a horrible matchup.
But do you trust Peterson against the Giants?
No. Kind of, but no, I don't.
In a PPR league, I would have them Gurley, Hunt, Peterson.
I'm going. Let's throw up a head-to-head. I'm going to go Peterson.
You're going Peterson, and
Sure
I'm
am.
going Gurley.
And it's going to be Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
We'll answer.
Definitely, and then both of us are screwed. But so and then we both clear on AJ Brown as our number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
So as a flex, so if you're going AP and I'm going Gurley, I'm okay with flexing AP over the other ones.
Okay. All right. So
Over
this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Adrian Peterson at running back, AJ Brown at wide receiver, Terry McLaurin at wide receiver, Todd Gurley in flex, and Brashard Perryman in flex.
Brashard Perriman in flex.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Which means I'm leaving both Giants receivers out, and I don't like that, but I'm going to do it.
I'm going exactly the same, except I'm going... No, you have McLaurin starting as well. Never mind. I'm going the same. I just have them in a different order.
Sounds
it's just
good.
that we have Peterson and you have Gurley and flex, and I have Peterson and flex.
Yeah, start both of those two guys.
Yeah.
Sit Kareem Hunt. Sit the 2 Giants guys. Is that all we're sitting?
Yeah, because I can go with AP as my flex with more upside than Kareem Hunt.
Agreed.
So,
I mean, I like Hunt, but the Baltimore matchup scares me. Though Hunt does seem to be like a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. I'd rather go with AP.
yeah.
Catch a touchdown, grab a touchdown, and grab like
run
80
180.
yards.
So AP, AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Todd Gurley, and Brashard Perriman is our starting lineup for that one.
Yeah.
We have the same players, just in different orders.
Yep.
Good advice, fellas. Thank you so much. We have one more question here with Jameis Winston, and then we're gonna. We have 2 more questions before we sign off. Jameis Winston. So Kyle G will be the last one, or Ryan Tannehill. This is the first one. I'm going famous Jameis over Tannehill.
Not I, sir. Give me Tanny.
Tannehill against New Orleans.
Yep.
Winston, he plays Houston, right?
That Houston Tampa Bay game is going to be 20-13, and no one's going to predict it. And the Tennessee New Orleans game is going to be 45-40.
I'm gonna write down here. Is it low scoring, Nick?
Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay Houston low scoring, Tennessee New Orleans high scoring. Both those teams will be fighting for something. Tampa Bay ain't fighting for nothing. Houston obviously fighting, but I don't think Tampa Bay is going to put up much of a fight against them. So it's crazy how Jameis Winston has 30 touchdowns and 24 interceptions. To me,
yeah, that's why. Like, he just keeps throwing touchdowns. So they didn't have anything to fight for against Detroit either. Like,
Yeah, but Detroit's bad.
Yeah, but Houston gives up even more points to quarterbacks.
Yeah, but Houston's not that bad of a team. They're not going to lose to Tampa Bay like that.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Like, it's just teams will play towards other teams sometimes, and it's not always. But I just think that Tennessee plays up against New Orleans, and Houston plays down towards Tampa Bay.
That's a fair point. We have our last question before the poem to close us out for Week 16. We got Freeman over Perriman, Shark, or Thielen. So I'm gonna Devontae Freeman or Brashard Perriman. I gotta copy that name again. And DJ Shark or Adam.
Is Thielen back? Boys, I didn't even realize. I didn't even realize. Did he play last week?
He played.
Oh my God, how long has he been playing?
1 week.
Oh, he just played last week. I'm telling you, I hosted my Christmas last Sunday, so I didn't watch much football last Sunday.
No, it's fine. I kind of missed that he was playing too. I thought he was out.
Like, Thielen's back. I'm definitely not starting Thielen. Oh wait, he's playing. Oh, maybe I will. Hold on here. But he's playing Green Bay, so
I'm actually gambling on him this week. I need to gamble a little bit in one league.
Well, that's a gamble, that's for sure. Devonta Freeman is what we're talking about.
Devonta
right?
Freeman, Brashard Perriman, DJ Shark, Adam Thielen.
Man, I hate starting Devontae.
Well, no, it's just the first two, Freeman or Perriman.
I mean, those are the two that I care about, and I hate starting Freeman. I hate it, but
Yeah,
Jacksonville's bad.
Yeah, I'm going Freeman over
I
Perriman.
gotta go Freeman, but I'm telling you, Perriman. Nah, just go Freeman. Go Freeman. Like I said, that's gonna be a low-scoring game. Go Freeman.
And I'm going DJ Shark over Thielen.
Hold on one second. Shark and Thielen. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Even though, like, I'm going Thielen in a league where, like I said, I'm kind of low on a lot of players. It's a struggle. It's a struggle in that one. Even though, like, I'm in the semifinals, it's that week 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna win that league.
Hell yeah, you are, baby.
But Matt Williams, yes, Freeman is gross, but we're going with him anyway.
Matt Williams, Freeman is gross. Agreed, Matt.
And I'm just posting. Rankings can be found on cstfantasy.com. I posted my latest article right there, but you can also find the rankings. I'm just putting it out. Where are the weekly score projections? There we go. And I'm gonna hand over to Nick to close us out.
Hey, thanks for watching, everyone. Follow me on Twitter at Nick Faber NFL. Real quick, Carl, where do they follow you?
At CST Fantasy, cstfantasy.com, and here on the YouTube channel. You can also check out at CST Fantasy on Instagram, where I'm now more active with weekly, not info, graphics and stuff like that.
Beautiful pictures. Great detail. Insta, baby. All right, let's finish it up here. This is a little poem I wrote to start our show, but I'll end it as well with it. 'Twas the week before Christmas when all through the house fantasy owners were stirring, clicking their mouse, trying to tinker, pulling out hair in hopes that a trophy soon will be there. When out on the lawn there arose pandemonium, someone shouted, should I start Cooper Kupp or Brishard Perryman, Allen Robinson or Cortland Sutton or A.J. Brown? Which one of these fine gentlemen should I turn down? I'm in one of those Aaron Rodgers or Drew Lock kind of things, and all I want is a trophy in my Christmas stocking. If you too have these questions, don't give the devil your soul. Just buckle up for the whole season and listen to the Fantasy Rabbit Hole.
It's so fantastic, man. It's so fantastic. And with that note, signing off is CST Fantasy and Nick Faber. We will see you again next week. Good luck in the championship.
Woo, woo, woo. Peace.